situation, your attendees are just spread throughout the city. So I am so excited to showcase the ability here because this whole situation just blows my mind, like what we are capable of doing. And so I am so excited to give Diana Fragnito the stage from her home in New York City. So Diana is with OneCause, and they provide really great fundraising, online virtual fundraising software for your fundraising auctions. And I'm going to let Diana talk a lot more about this because she is deep in the middle of our current situation with fundraisers. So Diana, thank you so much for being here and being here last minute, really. We're doing this all on a quick time frame, huh?
Well, Danielle, I love that you put this together. I think this is amazing. I don't know the age that people who are watching are, but this reminds me so much of back in the day. It was the old school telethon. It's just rather than having a phone bank of people answering the phone to accept donations, you're doing it. Everyone's doing it right from their phone, whether they're donating money, whether they're bidding on an auction. It's all from their phone. And I love this idea of actually going to a studio just to kind of explain again, and Danielle, you did a great explanation. We do work with thousands really of nonprofits across the country, providing them this online mobile bidding technology that typically is used for the gala. So we're in the thick of spring gala season,
yes.
Right? It kicks off
yes.
in March. So we've had multiple conversations with lots and lots of our nonprofit, partners, because their events were like inevitable, and we were getting different direction from the governor saying, you can have 500 people. Or no more than 500 people. Then the next day it was no more than 250 people. Then it was you can't have more than 50 people in a room. So it was just pivoting that magic yes. word, daily. And so what we've seen so far, which I'll just want to share a little bit of the success we've seen. I haven't seen yet someone do it to the production like you're suggesting here, but I imagine that we'll see that, shortly. What we've seen is people just, in a board member's living room, they're on Facebook Live and they're just kind of trying to create this community, right, with their supporters while they have the auction happening kind of in the background, or maybe even started the auction, a few days before, and then are doing the live appeal on Facebook Live. Like it just, and people are just, shifting and becoming creative and trying new things. And there is a certain amount of fear, right? Because it's not something that they'd ever done before. But I will say, and I wanted to get this feedback from my team because I was curious. There's so many of these happening. What is the success? What's the feedback from people that are actually doing this? And this makes me so happy. They said, of all the kind of virtual events that have happened, they said about a little over 80% of them have reached goal or surpassed goal, and there's this overwhelming sense of if we can't all be together in a room, now the challenge is more about how do we create this sense of community? And I think through technology, through Facebook Live, through YouTube, but I think there's like a multitude of streaming services. But again, I love what we're talking about here because it's a little bit more scripted. You can have your speakers, you can have your honoree, you can kind of plan your whole run of show a little bit more than you would maybe on a Facebook Live. It's a little bit more, let's call it, professional, and still do all your fundraising. You can do your live auction, you can do your appeal, and you can show things kind of in real time. But so that's the beauty right now of having access to technology, what it can do for fundraisers. I know that there was this sense of like, oh my God, I can't have my event. Everything is stopping, but it's quite the opposite, right? So between a platform like what OneCause, and we've been doing this since 2008. So you've
been doing this for a long time. Right? Yeah. And so one of the questions that I keep seeing, I host a group online is everybody wants to know what platforms to use. Maybe they haven't been doing this. And so now the conversation is how to shift online, but everybody's looking for a virtual platform, and that's exactly what you have. Yay, Diana! Yay, she has a solution. And so I know you're going to spend some time talking about that. And so I know that our people who are watching, there's a lot of nonprofits on today, and they're so curious about what you offer and how you do it and what that looks like.
Yeah, so I will show, I'll just quickly kind of say, we've had to pivot how we offer our software because with a lot of our customers, not all, they have the option to do that. We usually go on site to help them manage the technical portion of it. But since we're not on site, although with your idea, we could be on site, we could have that social distancing, but we've kind of shifted the on-site event manager, and we're calling her him or her the virtual event manager, so that the nonprofits do have that support, that one-on-one support to kind of make all the moves on the back end, so that the nonprofit or the event planner can really just focus on her virtual event, so to speak. But I would love to show, because I don't know how many people are familiar with using an online or a mobile kind of technology. So I'll definitely go through some advantages and show you a little bit of how it would look like. I know Danielle, sorry, you had that screen up on how the people watching this.
Can we pop up our Text Diana to screen on so everybody's can you see it? Okay.
Yep. So what I would say to everyone, just to have a little bit of fun, this is a way for you to self-register into my demo, and you'll get a text message back onto your phone, and you can pretend you're at an auction at a virtual event, and you'll see that you can bid on the silent auction. And I know later on Tyson, who's an auctioneer, is going to lead us through how a live appeal will work, and you can use my demo. So if you wouldn't mind just taking a moment right now and texting the word Diana to that particular number, that short code, right on your phone, and then you can essentially self-register. And then what you'll notice is when you do this, it's going to give you the option to add a credit card or not. Obviously for this, you don't have to. But for all of the virtual events or the online fundraising, we do suggest that you do, so that way you don't have to track down any kind of payment. Essentially, John Smith registers, you're getting all his current data, all his current information, and you've got his credit card. So it's a seamless check-in and a seamless checkout because it's done by your supporter or by the bidder.
Awesome. That's so great.
Should I share my screen, Danielle?
Go for it. Yep.
Okay.
And I kind of want to point out, because again, we're just trying to be transparent in this whole process about how this works. Again, Diana's in New York, and she is sharing her screen. She's teaching us, she's educating us, and I get to see her, or I get to see her screen. And so this is just a really great way to integrate people in different locations and spaces into ultimately a very seamless experience for you watching this. All right, Diana, you're on.
Okay, so I think one of the benefits, and this is really, it's funny because I've been saying this since 2000, company started in 2008. I've been with OneCause since 2009. But one of the beautiful things about going mobile or going online is it does allow you to really maximize and expand your supporter or bidder base, right? You have a URL, or the way I suggested that for everyone to kind of join the auction by texting, you can blast that out via an email blast on your social media, just inviting people to the auction so anyone and everyone can really join it. And like I said, you'll have all their information, you'll get the credit card information as well, so you won't have to worry about that. Or what we see a lot is you really reach out to what we call your ambassadors, your super supporters, and ask them to kind of share it out with their network, so that again, now rather than maybe, I don't know, let's say you've got 300 people at your event, maybe you can get 900 people or more kind of interested or having eyes on your particular, on your auction. The other beautiful thing about doing it online and mobile is that, right, your event's 2 hours long, 3 to 4 hours long. The auction sometimes, a lot the reason that this was created was because we kept hearing an auction sometimes can be out of sight, out of mind. People are socializing, or they can only see so many of the items before they go and sit down for dinner. So this is an opportunity for you to really expand your auction time-wise. What we see people typically do is they might open up their auction maybe 7 days before the actual event, or in this case, the virtual event. So you really are giving people time to kind of find and look at your digital catalog, so to speak. The other great feature that this platform has is you can text message people that have joined the auction. So you can be really smart about the messaging. You can add items daily. You can have a lot of fun on social media saying, hey, check back on our auction site daily. We're adding amazing items. You could really be as creative as you want. And the other thing I want to point out, and Danielle, this is your whole world, is the sponsorships opportunities, right? You can go to some sponsors and give them visibility, right? Online, on people's phones and virtually. So this is another area that I like to focus on, because obviously it helps continue your sponsorship opportunities.
Yeah, and I'd like to just maybe quickly touch base on this sponsorship scenario. I know I've been hearing a lot of people saying sponsors aren't supporting because you're having to cancel events. This is a really great way to keep your sponsorships engaged. And just as you've been seeing, we're transitioning between different screens and technology. Your sponsors most likely already have together some sort of commercial or something that they might be able to put together for you, or perhaps the CEO of that company is doing some sort of virtual presentation, and you can share that in between your auction space, just like you might at a real event. So thanks for bringing that up, Diana.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll go through a couple of things. So I'll pick a category just so people can see what it looks like online. Now, the same rules apply for your on-site auction. You still want to procure amazing items, right? You still want to do that. You want to have a good photo. You want to have a good description. You still want to do that. I think something that's a little bit different that we see is that sometimes for your starting bids and minimum raises, you want to make it really tight, meaning you don't want to go super low so that you've got all this outbidding happening, because that's something that the system will do. If I bid on the Marvel Avengers at the 135 and Danielle outbids me, I will get an outbid alert. So it will immediately notify me that I've been outbid, right? So it's that immediate notification of what's happening in the auction. So you don't want to have it too low, because sometimes I see it too low, and then you keep getting these outbid text alerts, and it sometimes can annoy people. So you want to have the starting bid and the minimum raises at a really tight, good place. And we actually got that feedback from the people that did have the virtual events. They kind of agreed with us, on that. The other great thing, and I'll click on Marvel. Let me move my little thing here. So you'll see there's a picture. You can still show who donated it. People can bid. They can set a max bid. For those of you not familiar with what a max bid means, is if I am so determined to win this, and it says that the next bid is 160, but I'm willing to pay, I don't know, 300, let's say, I can have an option to just buy it now and take it off the table. And it's completely up to the organization. They want to turn that on or off. Or for me as a bidder, if I'm willing to pay up to 250, let's say, I just set the max bid. So what that means is the system will bid for me in the next increment as I get outbid. So it's doing a little bit of the work for me. What that's a positive. What we've seen over the years for the nonprofit is it drives bidding up. So you get more bids, you get more money, for that particular auction item, right? So you still have your description, and this is a lot of fun too. And you want to encourage your bidders, right? They can share this on their social media. Like, hey, I just bid on the Avengers, the Avengers package. Here it is, right? If they want to kind of drive that frenzy up, so to speak. Or they can even Twitter. They can even email the link to someone as well. Okay. And if anyone has registered and has it on their phone, go ahead and bid, have a ton of fun with it. This is fake money. So go ahead and drive the bidding up. Maybe you guys will even experience some of the outbid notices. Now for the live, right? What we do for the live typically is you preview them so that at an actual event, right, people just see what's coming up. But if you're having a virtual event, how does the live work? So how we've pivoted, okay, is we've now put the live auction items in like what we call a featured category. But on the back end, we don't turn that package on, meaning you cannot bid on it until the organization wants you to be able to bid on it if you were in like a virtual space. So that's a way that we've figured out that you can still have the live auction on your phones, is by kind of playing around with our settings on the back end in that way. So you can do the live auction in a virtual mobile online space as well. Raffles, you can sell your raffles on here. We haven't seen anyone do the wine pulls, but we're still seeing people do the sign-up parties. We're still seeing people do raffles. So that's still happening, and you can do all of that online, obviously depending on your state's rules around raffles. And again, the other thing that I want to encourage is the text messaging option. It's really, and this is a beautiful stat, 98% of people that get a text message will look at it within the first 60 seconds. So it's the quickest way to get people's attention. I know we're going to do the live appeal with Tyson. So when we do that, you'll get to see on your phone how to donate, and you can see how that looks like on a scoreboard. So you can kind of see the frenzy live as it's happening.
Yeah,
but Danielle, what I thought I would do is I wanted to show everyone actual websites of actual organizations and how they have pivoted, how they've changed their website. So you can kind of see some examples. So this particular, or a school, they're telling you our online auction will start on March 28th. It'll go through April 4th when the actual virtual event is, right? So they're starting to communicate now about when the online auction starts, and they're starting to communicate now when the virtual event is happening. So definitely kind of build that into your plans.
I love it.
Yep. Here's another one, right? They're telling you exactly what's happening. This is going to be online. They're telling you when it's going to end. Here, I was trying to pull as many examples. Like here, they're talking about, just like you did, Danielle, register to watch. I think they were doing this on Facebook Live, this particular event. So you see how people are pivoting and using this technology of live streaming along with a platform like a OneCause to continue the fundraising and to continue that sense of community. I will say a couple of other things that we've seen recently is people are having fun. They're trying to have fun in a time that obviously is not fun and is a bit challenging. We saw an auction package called the last roll of toilet paper. And when I saw the bidding, it was at $200, right? Obviously nobody wants it, but like, it's just a fun way to raise some money. We saw another package. It was the COVID-19 survival basket, and it just had like a bunch of good food and good snacks in it. We've seen people rename their event from whatever their gala was to, the pajama gala, or browse and bid from your couch. So I love that I'm seeing a little bit of levity, let's call it. People are trying to have fun with it because they're trying to keep momentum going while still creating that sense of community. And they're just using different ways to do it. They're just using different technology to do it.
Oh my gosh, I love the creativity that you just talked about. I mean, what a great example of other nonprofits that are just going with the flow. They're making it happen. Now is a better time than any to try out this virtual concept. We're all learning. There's a lot of grace here if we mess up or something doesn't connect quite right. But Diana, those are such great examples. And I love the creativity. That is so fun.
And I will tell you, like, again, that word pivot has become like at the tip of every fundraiser's tongue, and it's on the tip of our tongue as well, because in 1 week, so much has changed, so much has happened. And we are literally at OneCause every day having conversations with our customers and people that are just want to understand, how do I've never used technology. How does it work for me? And so, and also every day we're seeing these virtual events or these online only, auctions happening and executing. And we are actively reaching out to a lot of these nonprofits to say what worked, what didn't work. So even our own resources and how we are consulting or sharing best practices is changing, because this is all completely new. Like, Danielle, like this whole concept of what you're suggesting is an amazing suggestion, and one that I'm going to bring back, obviously, to the team. This is something you could take your virtual event to the next level by literally kind of, going back to the old telethon in a way, just really kind of, coordinating it and orchestrating it like from a studio, like you're suggesting right now. So, kudos to you.
Thank you so much. And Diana, thank you so much for making the time today to be on our virtual event and explaining your